Hello and welcome to the Build With Baer Workshop. My name is Pat Baer. I'm here to build a model kit and then also a Lego set. And of course, I'm here to hang out with all of you. I'm going to throw the Bear Cave, the Lego, the site, the Tier 2 blue emote in chat. If you are currently a subscriber, you can reply with those emotes. If you are not yet a subscriber, you can say hi or use other people's emotes. Or if you feel like being a lurker, you can just go ahead and lurk. You don't have to say anything if you don't want to. Or if you only want to type like on occasion, you don't want to like get deep in the conversation, that's fine as well. Ghost Valve is here. Hello, Ghost Valve. Lashbrook is here. Hello, Lashbrook. Welcome everybody for this Monday stream. I have to remind myself it is Monday because it doesn't quite feel like a Monday. But then if it was a Tuesday, I wouldn't be building a model kit. I'd be doing what I'm going to do tomorrow night, which is Pokemon Black Randomizer. I'm returning my Pokemon run because my Pokemon run is good and I like it. And it's been a little while since we did it, and I'm trying not to spend money on new video games if I can. Unless it's like really, really cool, in which case I guess I will. But yeah. Hey, Lord Christian, welcome. So the plan tonight is the F91. We're going to finish that. There's one more weapon to build, the shield, the beam sabers. So I guess there's a couple weapons or whatever. And then we got to put the alternative like shoulder things, vents in it. And take some photos. So we'll do 2 photos of that. And then we're going to start the Lego Retro Camera 3-in-1. And the fact that one of the things you can build in it is a video camcorder that's fairly similar to the one I use as my overhead camera. And you can forgive me for feeling a little old by the fact that that's very retro. But obviously I have an HD Panasonic camera that cost several $100s when I bought it several years ago. And it's not the same as the camcorder in this Lego set, but also it did make me go like, oh, retro. Okay, film cameras, huh? That is retro. You know, it is what it is. Also should say, we're currently at 38 subscribers. The goal is to get to 50. If you'd like to become a subscriber, feel free to do that. That number will drop because we did get some gifted subs last month, and when those gifted subs run out, most people don't renew their gifted sub, which is understandable and reasonable and okay. So we will drop, but if you want to become a subscriber or gift a sub, feel free. Cameras are quaint now. Yes, a film camera is obviously retro. I'm not saying it's not. A camcorder is also a little on the outside, but for like, here's the thing. If I'm going to buy a DSLR, it's going to replace the webcam that you're looking at right now. It isn't going to replace my overhead camera because the DSLR is like too good for that. But if I mounted it to face me, that would be something. And that's not something I need right now. Honestly, I have a backup of this Logitech that I will replace my other, when this one finally craps out, I'll replace it with my backup, which used to be my overhead camera. My overhead camera used to be my webcam. And then I decided I would get into this and I needed to buy another webcam, and I just bought the same one. Because I didn't feel the need to get an overhead camera. And then I decided I was going to use my camcorder. I found out that my camcorder, the Panasonic, it loves to output a signal to HDMI. It really does not hate that at all. It's totally fine with doing that, which serves my needs very well. I didn't have to trick it. I didn't have to do anything. I didn't have to flash firmware on it or something. It just worked out of the box with that. All I needed was the adapter, and then I needed a USB to HDMI capture device, and boom, my overhead camera works pretty damn well for that. And OBS recognizes it, which is nice. That's a nice thing. So here's our tiny friend, the F91. We do have a gun that we built here. We're going to have it to build a bigger weapon that we'll be working on now that can usually just rest. Oops, should say it rests on the back, but you can also have our suit hold it, which is cool. And so we'll put that together, and we'll do like a one with weapons photo, including the back pack weapons, and then one with the beams, because it's nice to have some options for some photos. So let's get into that. Yeah, without further ado, let's build some model kit stuff. And let's work on a gun. We got the gun there, and we'll just leave that there, and then we'll finish it up. And then, of course, after that, we'll start knolling some Lego and figuring all that out, and that'll be fun. All right, we need B12 and B27. I did want to give you an update because some of y'all were here when I talked about it. I have a valid form of identification now. I'm valid again, folks. My passport card came. My new passport card came. I figured things were working out okay because they did cash the check, but you never know. If you are you missed the saga of it, basically liner notes for it. Not liner notes, but summary, easy summary. My passport card is my main piece of identification. I do not have a full passport booklet. I do not have a state ID or a driver's license. I have a passport card, which I use as my ID. And it works well for that. It was going to expire in August of this year. I decided I wasn't going to wait for it to expire before I mailed it out because it was going to take a little while. So got a new photo. I had to go and get a new passport photo. And got that filled out. Got, sent a check along with all the information that was necessary, mailed that all in. It got processed. Seems like everything worked out, which is nice because now I have an ID for 10 years. And then in 2034, which feels like the future, it will be 10 years in the future. The only thing that I'm annoyed about, and this is a minor thing, and who cares, right? Who cares about it? I didn't get the card till this month, but it got processed obviously in May. So my card expires in May of 2034, not June when I got it. And that's just annoying. That means I got to do it even further in the months ahead to make sure that everything works out. And again, minor complaint, like ridiculously minor complaint, that I've got to do that a little earlier than I would have liked. Like, it still worked out. Got to pay for those expedited returns. I mean, I could have done that, John. I could have done a quick turnaround. I chose not to do a quick turnaround and did the fine amount. If I needed to, here's the thing. If I ever need to upgrade my passport card to a regular passport and then keep the card, I would expedite that because I would want my card back as soon as possible. Also, probably because if I need a full passport, it's because I'm suddenly going to travel overseas soon and I need to get that shit straightened out. So that's the case for that. We got 2 more stickers left. One for the holder of the beam shield and one for the this weapon here. So we'll do that one first and we'll do the other one later once we finish that, which goes here. Here it is. It goes here. I do like it that this is the same color as the cameras on the head. Front and back cameras, that's the same color. That's nice. I like that when it matches. It could just be green, but instead it is the same color teal. I think that's cool. So yeah, now I have a passport card. Long story short, came in the mail. I made sure to send a thank you out to the person that helped me get that card, because if you remember the story, or maybe you didn't hear the story, 10 years ago when I got my passport card, I did not have a valid form of identification. My driver's license, which was a Connecticut driver's license, had expired. I knew it was close to expiring, and I just didn't pay attention to it. It had gone so long that Connecticut was not going to issue me a new one through the mail. I would have had to go there in person. And also, it was so old that it wasn't that it was expired. I did have all the documents necessary to get a New York State ID. The issue that I had was that there was something else going on with something that I don't want to get too far into, but there was a discrepancy, some bit of information from the paper days into the computer days got entered wrong in Connecticut, and there was information that was inaccurate, and that caused an alarm to go off. Not a real alarm, but like alarm bells to go off and be like, hey, something's up. So I wasn't able to get I wasn't able to get a state ID because of that. And it was going to be very hard to correct that problem otherwise. So I was kind of stuck. And what I ended up getting was the passport card. And to do that, I had an expired passport from my childhood that luckily my parents kept. I had some bills in my name with an address. I had work stubs, and I had been at the same job for a number of years, so I had work stubs over several years, just because I thought that would be good. My yearbook, my high school yearbook, to create like that I was not, making all this up, and I wasn't like forging any of these documents. And what I also had was my friend Rachel, who was the most important element to the story, and who I thanked in a tweet today about it, because my friend Rachel went to the post office with me, because I did it at the post office, and signed an affidavit that I was who I was saying that I was. And, of course, she presented her passport and her as ID and another form of ID, and then she had to, I forget what else she had to do. She had to do, she basically had to, say, how long have we known each other? How did she know me? And, of course, she was a coworker of mine, so that made things easier. And had to go in and do all this other stuff to basically just be like, yeah, he is who he says he is, and I swear it and all that. And then I was able to get my passport card, and now almost 10 years later, the time was right to get it again. This little rocket part here is not slipping in where I need it. I kind of need three hands because I want to hold this and I want to keep this steady and I want to put pressure on it. So I'm using my jeweler's tweezers to as basically a way to steady these while I'm putting pressure on it. It's not going in, and I'm not sure why. This is B8. So this is the right piece. There's no extra nubbin or anything, but it's not going into the slot that it needs to go into. So we'll do it. There we go. That went in, and then I can just keep that out. We'll see if this pops out or if we're fine. I should say, because it's been a little while, if you're unfamiliar, these are jeweler's tweezers. I have two of them. I have these with a little bit of bend, which I like, and then I have the ones that are fully straight, which probably would have been better for that application, but I like these better, so I have them out. This also, I'll talk about this in a second. This is, these jeweler's tweezers. So as you're well aware, with regular tweezers, you are putting pressure on them to keep them closed. They are open, and you grip on a thing, and then you put pressure on it, and you're fine. Jeweler's tweezers work in the reverse because you want to steady an object, but you don't want to having to worry about constant pressure. So by pressing these, you open it, and then it can be rough with some plastic, like a small piece of plastic, because it will shoot out because the force is too much. But for something like applying a sticker, like a wet transfer, these are phenomenal for that. But you can also do something like, if it's a wider piece, I can put this on here so that I can have more free range to move things around, or to steady it if I think my hands are not going to be steady. Or let's say I was painting it. This would be nice if I was going to paint like this piece here. That way I don't have to hold it with my hands. I could just have that. Nice little things. I enjoy these quite a bit. This is a kit that I bought years and years ago. It's one of my first purchases from the stream. This little tool kit is really worn and beat up, and some of these things have kind of put holes in them. Someday I'll replace it, but it still works, so I keep it fine. Normally I will keep these in here, but for actual streams I use this and the spudger more than anything else, so I like keeping those separate. But these are tools that I use. Some I use often, some I don't use that often. This is a very worn a sanding stick. Instead of having sandpaper, I have a sanding stick. A screwdriver for late 90s, early 2000s kits that had screws. They were always Phillips screws, so this little screwdriver is handy for that. A heavier spudger that still does have, I should say, still does have a bit of a wedge. So it's a wedge spudger. A metal spudger, which is not good for working with plastic, but sometimes you do need to really get in there. This has a little bit more heft to it, which is nice. And then a very light spudger, which I don't use for anything. This toolkit is not designed for model kits. This is to put in your bag or to throw in a closet. And these are tools for servicing phones and smart tablets and stuff like that. These are tools for that. But those tools have lots of applications, and I removed a few things. That this had like several different spudgers in it, but I really only need the ones that I have. Like I said, and honestly, I don't use these too often. I use these more than anything, so I just keep them out. But in the days, my early days of streaming, when I had when every time I streamed, I had to completely set up this. It was nice to have everything together because I didn't lose them and it was easy to transport them. Right now, this table that I use is also my work table, and I just move my keyboard into position. I even leave this here and just work on top of it because it's fine. But in New York, when I first started streaming, and let's actually panel line this while I'm talking. When I first started streaming in New York, I had a computer desk that I couldn't work on. It just there wasn't enough room for all this. So I would set up a folding table, kitty corner, perpendicular to my computer setup, and then I would set up my lights. I had my green screen up, which I used for a while, and then eventually just traded in for a black backdrop. And then I would set my lights up for every stream, and then I would take my my monitors, my dual monitors at the time, which also had my webcam on it, and I would take it off of the computer desk and then go basically I would go for from monitors here to monitors like that and move it over. And I just had long enough cables to make all that work. I put extensions on some of the power. And so that was every stream, which when I was only streaming once a week and then twice a week was not a big deal. And then my Tuesday, which then Wednesday, my bonus streams were 1 day a week or 1 day a month and then twice a month. So it wasn't that big of a deal. When I streamed less, wasn't a problem to do all that. But I had to set everything up every time, including the lights and all that. And then eventually I, when I got here, it's just one setup and it's not a big deal. But I used to do that all the time. Get all that set up and then be ready to go. And then I'd have to move my chair over, and it was a whole thing. Luckily, I had enough room to do all that. But yeah, it was a whole goddamn enterprise to get everything together and get that all looking good. It was on occasion very frustrating, but it was nice getting all together. So yeah, I kind of had to modularly move everything. And then eventually I just gave up. I rearranged my room and gave up on my computer desk and just did everything on that table because I was tired of moving things every stream. And rearranging things, and also setting up my lights. The idea of just having my lights always up and just turn them on or off was, that was a godsend. So I just did that eventually, and it all worked out. Let's see there. Let's see. Is there any news of the world to talk about here? This is we won't dwell on this too much, but this is a piece of information that I did feel like sharing with y'all. That Aiko Masuyama, who I don't believe I've said her name out loud, passed away. She was a voice actress of much acclaim in Japan. You may know her best as the original voice of Fujiko, and the last remaining original voice actor from Lupin the Third. But she was Fujiko in Lupin, and I believe the last cast member to pass away, original cast member, I should say. She was also the first Cutie Honey. She had a long career in voice acting, many decades, and it's a sad thing, but it was nice to see some folks on Twitter kind of talking about her. She died at 89, which is a long life for certain. Yeah, it's sad. It was sad to see. But she has done so many things in the world of anime and just voice acting in general and traditional acting. There's a if you look it up, you can find from Cagliostro, the Cagliostro film that they did of the two, which is basically Cagliostro but with the cast of Lupin the Third. There's clips of it on YouTube of them in a promotional tour reading lines as Yamada, the original Lupin, and Aiko reading lines together, and then talking about the film, and it's incredible because it's just like, oh, it's the characters. That's them, and it's so wild and cool. It's a very fun thing about voice acting when you're like, but I know what the character looks like, but then you're the character, but you don't look, but what? Oh, but it's still very cool. So you should endeavor to track that down. I believe it might be in a reply to the Discotech Media post about it. In lighter news, if you are one of the people that bought a PlayStation VR 2, the adapter will be coming out soon that allows you to play it and access Steam games that will support Steam VR games. Let's see. When did they say this is going to come out? Purchase available, estimated price. I can see the price. Let's see if I can figure out when it's coming. I don't know. Actually, I don't know if it's out. I don't believe that the pre-orders are available for right now, but it's coming. But yeah, if you are interested in VR, now I'll say this: is this a cheap VR headset for the PC? No. When you factor in the cost of everything, it is not. It is probably better to get a unfortunately, it's probably better to get a Quest. It's probably better. Find a Quest 2 if you can, but it's probably better to just get a Quest 3. So the adapter is coming out. It is $60. If you already have the PSVR 2, you can plug in with the adapter to your PC. You will also need, sold separately, which is weird, a cable, which is a display cable. Let me look this up here. It is a display DisplayPort 1.4 cable. And that's because that means that your graphics card is going to need to have a DisplayPort or a mini DisplayPort output, and then you'd have to put another adapter there. If you only have mini display out, then get the DisplayPort 1.4 mini on one side, regular on the other. So you need to buy that. So you're buying a $60 adapter, which is not inexpensive, but it also isn't like cheap. You know what I mean? Like, it's less than I thought it was going to be. That's still an amount of money, so I understand why that might be a deal breaker for some people. The cable. So I looked on Amazon for the highest rated display port 1.4 cable, and that came in at $16. There are certainly ones that are cheaper. So I'm going with 16 just because, like, what if you bought the best one you could find for a reasonable price that was like a good length of a cable so you can sit comfortably, yada, yada, yada. So that's how much. So basically, for $76, if you already have the VR2, because you already have a PlayStation 5 and you bought the VR2 and you were like, well, I'd like to take that and change that up and get something else, you could do that. So that is $76. That's not bad. Like I said, you can buy a display one for cheaper, but that's what we're going to go with. Now, let's say you were thinking of, as I talked about it there, what if you were like, well, you know, the PS VR2 is $450. If I just buy it, like, what if I just buy it? That sounds good. I'll just buy that and the adapter and the cable, and I'll just go for that. Well, that's $450. So that was going to bring you up to $526 for all of it. $526, that starts to feel like a lot of money. And if you're going to spend $526 on the PSVR 2, an adapter, and the cable, I would say you're probably better off just getting the base MetaQuest 3. The high-end MetaQuest 3 is more expensive. The base one is fairly reasonable, and that seems to be the way to go, in my opinion. If you wanted to spend like a ton of money and you want to move around and do all that other stuff and really go for it, and money's not an option, then the best way to go would clearly, in my opinion anyway, just get a fucking Valve Index at that point. If if money's not an option, not a problem, just get that. And Lord Crashton says, I want none of that Facebook shit. And I totally understand. If you do not want the Quest because it is a meta Facebook product, but you want to play games on the, you want to play VR games on your PC, then this is an option. This is a valid option for folks if that's your jam and that's what you're looking for. These fucking big weapons are so frustrating to get to look good at all. These bazookas always look so bad. It's got a handle that moves around a bit to try to get you to put it on right, but it never looks good. I'm trying to get this to look good for at least one photo. I have a PSVR 2 and a PC that has the ports needed, so it's perfect for me. Yeah, Lord Crashton, if you already have the PSVR 2, this is awesome because you might even have that cable lying around, so you might only need to buy the adapter. Windows 10 and 11, of course. The processors are... Now, here's the thing. They give you the minimum specs, and they're like, it would probably be better. Yeah, you probably don't want to run this in i5, but you can run it on i5. If you got something better, you should probably go with the thing that's better. 8 gigs of RAM, of course. They say a GTX 1650, and I feel like that seems really low. Like a 1650 for VR feels like no. And they're like, for best performance, we recommend that you use a RTX 3060. And I'm like, that seems more accurate. To me, a 3060 sounds about right. Like a 1650, I'm like, there's minimum specs. And but I don't know. Unless, that just feels like, I don't know about that. Also, I guess 1650s have DisplayPort out. Maybe they do. But that seems a little surprising. You do need Bluetooth, which might actually be the thing that people also need to buy to make this work. Not everyone has Bluetooth on their PC. And I don't know why you need Bluetooth, but it says Bluetooth 4.0 or later. Oh, wait, there's a... let's see. There is a thing here. Where is it? Some Bluetooth adapters may not work due to Bluetooth adapter compatibility. We will share more closer to launch. Okay, so It's for the VR controllers, you assume. Okay, Lord Crash, that makes sense. So if some Bluetooth adapters might not be eligible, which would be annoying. The 3D audio experience uses Steam VR's audio technology instead of Tempest 3D audio, which is only supported on PS5. And they're going to make some stuff for sale, on sale. Some stuff's going on sale. Right now, oh, actually, I should say this, friends. Games in select regions, gamers, I should say, not games, gamers in select regions can get $100 off PSVR 2. So, and also the PS5 bundle that comes with the Horizon Call of the Mountain. So that's awesome. I did not see that the PSVR 2 is on sale as well. Oh, it's on sale for $450. That's right, Lord Christian. I did see that. That's how they get to the $450 is that it's on sale. So that's a very good time. I'm pressing the wrong buttons here. All right, so I've got the weapons version of our, like, all our weapons are out, cocked and loaded. We got the waist weapons. We got the bazooka, the beam bazooka. We got the gun here. We're locked and loaded. And now we're going to do the beam saber and the beam shield version, which I think is which is cool. I've talked about this already on stream. I love the beam saber and beam shield combination. Beam shields are just silly and fun. So yeah, so that's good news for PSVR owners, that you're going to have some, if you want to play some stuff on the PC, you can. And we'll see what people start doing with it. If there will be, you know, and I look, I'm never here to tell you that you should get on Reddit, but there will be Reddit threads about what is the best one to get. If you're getting, you know, if you're buying a cable, this is the best cable to use for this, or our testing says this cable is not going to go. Also out of the box is not going to support every feature like eye tracking. Yes, Lashbrook, there will be some limitations, and then we'll see if people figure out how to go beyond those limitations. If they figure out how to go plus ultra on that, we'll see. But it's cool. And it's one of those things where, like, I'm not surprised that they said they were going to try to do it. I am surprised that it's happening now. It honestly, to me anyway, felt like, oh wow, they're really doing it. Good for them. So that's nice. HDR headset feedback, eye tracking, adaptive triggers, haptic feedback other than Rumble are not available. High fidelity and sensory immersions. So the visuals are going to work. The field of view, finger touch detection. So some of that stuff is going to be in there, just not all of it. But yeah, and I'm sure people are going to figure some of that shit out. There'll be mods for Steam games. There'll be like PSVR 2 support has been added, and here are the things we put in to pull some stuff out of nothing for it and make it feel better. I'm sure there'll be a few people that are working on that. These beams don't hold too well here. That's annoying. We'll get this beam saber on, and then we'll get the beam shield done with our final sticker, and then we'll be done with this kit. So yeah, that was like cool. Cool they put that is happening. I think that's neat, especially for people that bought the game, bought this system, because there are going to be new PSVR 2 games, but like not a lot, and there's a ton of games on Steam, and now you've got a reasonably priced, and from my understanding, a headset that feels okay to wear, that isn't a product of Meta. So that's nice. That's nice if you can get it. Putting this final sticker on here. This is the sticker that goes on the shield part here, because the idea is that this is what you wear. This is on here normally, and then it would like extend out, and then there would be a shield suddenly. And since they don't want to put that mechanism or figure out how to make that mechanism happen in a high grade, instead you swap out for a different piece of equipment. Then that goes in. That? Yeah. Or is it supposed to go like this? Is that how it's supposed to go? No. No. Oh, okay, it goes like that. All right, great. And then this hangs out like that. And then you got a beam shield, which is neat. And then the beam saber slides out, which sucks. So you put that back in where you want it. And here it is. The other I took the hand off. I didn't need to. The alternate thing. Oh, and the last thing we need to do, which I didn't do yet, is put on the different shoulder fins. It's got alternative fins that go on. B4 and B3. This is B4. This is B3. Let's see. Other news. Okay. No, I think we're good. Game dev stuff. Content warning sold 2.2 million copies, which is pretty fucking good, I would say. I would say that is a win for them. Congratulations. Why is GameDeveloper.com not loading? There we go. Took a little while. Landfall Games hit in the 2 months since launch. The co-op horror game has garnered 8.8 million players and sold 2.2 million copies. This was fucking rules. Makes it one of the most successful titles they've ever had. And you're like, Pat, those numbers don't make sense to me. Well, that's because they did a thing where they were like, hey, here's a day where you can just play this game for free. And apparently about over 6 million people were like, okay. And then and a lot of people bought it and then didn't play it on that day. But then it sold about 1 million copies. And now it's up to 2.2 million copies sold. And, it's $8 game. So, devs seem to be doing pretty okay. But yeah, I thought that was fucking neat and cool. Good for them. Congratulations to the developers. And apparently there's talk about it going to consoles. You got your copy for free? Hell yeah. Yeah, that's why you got so many concurrent players. But it does fill the world out in a game where you need people to be playing. It was a smart decision to kind of seed it. And then people that are like, oh, I'm playing this game. I got it for free, but it's going to cost you $8. And then people were like, well, all right, if you're really liking it, so sure. Also, a lot of people got it for free, and on that one day, I think they said they had like 200,000 people playing it. So a lot of people bought it and go, I'll check this out later or whatever. But then, way more people just said like, yeah, whatever, than actually played it that day, but have now gone on to actually playing quite a bit, which rules. I don't know. Pretty cool. Let's see. Other gaming news. If there's any other gaming news. Mondays are tough because, not everything, not too many stories happen over the weekend. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Well, unfortunately, we can't go. It's hard to go a stream without talking about this stuff. So we will say that. There are going to be closures, or there are closures at Avalanche Studios Group. The Just Cause people are going to close 2 studios, one in New York and one in Montreal, and they have laid off 50 employees. And they said stability. 9% of their workforce worldwide, and they said that, yeah, it's mostly a trying to bring costs down thing, is what it seems to be anyway. And you may know that they have not had a Montreal studio for that long. 8 months. It makes sense to close the studio that you recently opened, but it doesn't make sense to open that fucking studio 8 months ago. Things were not great 8 months ago in games. Like, what? What are we doing here? Seems very short-sighted. 8 months is a blink of an eye in game dev. That's goddamn kind of wild. Let's see. After they... oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. The reason why they had a Montreal studio is because they acquired Monster Closet development team. And so then they basically were like, well, we've got these people, so we're just going to... So they basically acquired people, had a new studio because they acquired people in Montreal, and then we're like, and we're closing it. They haven't released a game in quite a while, so something was in the works must have gotten canceled. Well, Lord Crash, my guess is they acquired people and they were like, oh, we actually don't care about this team. We just want their IPs. So Avalanche Montreal, yeah, the joining and developing current and future IPs. Yeah, so they just wanted their studio, and they closed the studio. And their studio, their it seems to be no layoffs in their Swedish developers. Their Swedish employees saw no layoffs of all of the employees, and that's only really important to note because their Swedish employees are unionized. Well over 100 employees for Avalanche are in a union, and they saw no issues, which is not surprising. All right, here it is. We're moving over to the Lego Creators 3-in-1, the retro camera. We get a cool camera with film, which is neat. We get a camcorder and a little portable TV, which I think will move some stuff. I don't know exactly what's going to happen with this, but yeah, this is the next set. Oh, you can see more photos here. It does have film for it, which is, I think, very funny. And then you can check out the viewfinder of the camera, which is also pretty cool. And the images will also be on the television as well. Little portable TV. Got one instruction book, the other 2 instruction books. Okay, empty the box. Always make sure you empty the box. We're going to start with the camera because that's where most of the pieces are going to go. And then, of course, we also have the camcorder and the TV. And the TV appears to be, to me, the smallest thing. So we're going to start with the camera, and then I don't know what I'll build after that, but we'll start with the camera. We do have a couple bags here. We're probably just going to open up all of them. Yeah, we'll just open up all the bags, and we will know before we get into that. But I do like... Aristofan says, this is a fun kit. Also, hi, Pat. Hello, Aristofan. This kit does have stickers. The Lego 3-in-1s almost never have stickers. It's very rare. But, of course, those stickers are for the photos or the television program that you are watching. So we do have some stickers, and of course you don't have to take them apart. You know, once you build it once, it'll be useful again. We're going to put those aside, and I'm going to use my spudger for that because I prefer using a spudger for that application. And then also we will need the part separator, especially when we take apart the camera to make the other builds. So I'm going to start by putting my instruction booklet here so that I can find it when I need it. And then I'm going to just start knolling. I'm going to start knolling and separate stuff by color, find where it needs to go here. Yeah, pretty simple here. We'll start by putting everything at the center and then kind of separating by color. As always, I'm going to really check, make sure this bag is empty before I toss the bag aside, because that would be terrible. There is also something in there, usually that is felt or some other material they put in a little box, which is neat. These bags are not numbered, so we can open all of them at the same time. Occasionally a 3-in-1 will have like 2 bags. And one of the instruction booklets will be like, open bag 1, open bag 2, and the other ones are just like, hey, you have all those pieces because you didn't start with this. Probably. All right, that's empty as well. Always make sure. And then we got this little cardboard box here that has inside of it. This is the film. This is supposed to be the film reel here. And so that is a specialty item they didn't want bouncing around with Lego. So that was instead inside a little box. And we're going to put that back in the box. This is just the strap that goes next to, I think, both the camera. Yes, it's the camera strap. You can see it in the reference photo there of this build. I was looking forward to putting this. I picked this up off my Amazon wish list for myself. It was on the list for a while. But this was something that I was looking forward to putting together for quite some time, and eventually I just bought it for my backlog. Very happy to have it on there. But we'll put that aside for now, the strap, and we'll just focus on knolling. Kind of sort as I go, but just really sort by color. Find some spots to put some stuff. Easily accessible stuff here. Try to pick out what the colors that I have the most of and put those together. And the ones I only have a little bit of, I can always just fill in. I have a good amount of room around my build surface. Now, before I used the board here, it was it always felt like there was a lot more room because I don't want to like layer stuff on top of this. But it's so much easier to build on this surface, both Lego and model kits. So, and I think it's easier for people to see stuff. It means that my off-white table doesn't reflect light back up to the camera, and that can be weird for overhead, both the video overhead and also the still photography of what I've built. So this is just a little easier. In the second hour, we will talk about some anime. I didn't end up talking about anime on Saturday's stream. We talked about anime in general, but not specific. So we will be talking about the episode of Windbreaker, and then we'll do Kaiju number 8. Whisper Me a Love Song will wait for Thursday. So we will do our girls into each other, girls with budding careers into each other day will be Thursday, and today is Shonen Day. It's Boys Being Dudes Day. Got both of those happening, so we'll talk about all that. Guys being dudes. God, this episode of Windbreaker was so fucking good. So yeah, we'll do Windbreaker, Kaiju number 8, and then today, and then the ladies on Thursday. Reminder that my stream tomorrow's stream is going to be so fucking fun. You should come hang out for that. Is my continuation of my Pokemon Black Randomizer run. A very fun thing that I've been doing off and on. It's been a little while since we joined them. I do have to load that game up tomorrow and figure out where I am. I think where we left off, I had just beaten the gym. And so I will have to figure out where I need to go after that. And I believe I am still at an appropriate level, because I think beating that gym, we may have beaten that gym with 2 Pokemon. I think I didn't need a full team for that gym, so I think we're doing all right. We got a little red here, got a little yellow. Still figuring out all these colors, getting ready to null things properly here. Let's see, other news stores. So we did have to talk about that. Also, let's see. Yeah. Take-Two is probably completely shutting down Private Division, which you know we talked about that before. With Intercept Games and Ollie World Maker Roll 7 going away. Basically, sources, this is not a press release. This is not, you know, document. This is sources are saying that it looks like, Roll 7 is just going to close. And Intercept Games is probably also going to close, and it looks like it might be all of their indie publishing arm, Private Division, are probably all going to go. Take-Two is, of course, they're refuting that. They're saying no. Anytime people have been asking about that, they're saying no. It looks like if this does happen, it will happen in June, by the end of June. We do know the layoffs happened, but they're not saying they're closing any of these studios. And said, because it's technically true. Basically, they were like, hey, are these studios closed? And Strauss Zelnick was like, no, because they're closing. You know, he didn't say because they're closing, but that would be technically true that they hadn't closed them. They are in the process of closing them, which is, of course, the worst kind of true, technically true. That's the shit way of being a person, is to be technically right about a thing. Sometimes it's satisfying, but other times it is not helpful to anyone. Let's see. It looked like for a while that they were trying to sell off Private Division, and now, since it does not seem like that is going to happen, they are probably just shuttering it. Again, this is reports. We don't know for sure. You know, these are just reports that are out there, but it does not look particularly great for those folks, especially because in response to apparently a lack of funds, even without the closure, they are canceling contracts, and that also affected Bloober Team. Bloober Team apparently had something with the label. And I believe they're trying to sell that, either sell that or some IPs, and thinking about shutting it down if they can't find a buyer. And apparently a portion of the teams have been assigned working on various projects like No Rest for the Wicked, Tales of the Shire, and a Untitled Game Freak project. So basically just as a support group on the projects they've announced and want to kind of keep going, it looks like. Then we'll see if any other projects come out. I have to be very careful. This is a dark brown. It is not black. Side by side, you can tell the difference, but in a pile, a little difficult. And sometimes on paper, that also could be difficult. So I have to be very careful of that to make sure that I am not grabbing the wrong thing. Should be fine by these 1x1s because it doesn't look like there are any other, well, 1x2, but whatever. It doesn't look like there are any other colors of that. So I should be okay. sometimes that's a good way to look at it. Is if you think like, oh, I'm not really sure what color that they want on this instruction booklet, because sometimes the instructions, the colors aren't perfectly don't perfectly match. You can look at it and go like, well, I only have this piece in black, so it's got to, and white, so it's got to be these. You know, that's got to be black instead of gray. And the smaller kits will often make that easier for you to figure out. Not all of them, but sometimes. Sometimes they throw you a bone. I think that's probably it for video game news. Yeah. Let's see. Is there any news in the world of wrestling? Some stuff's been weird with TNA. I don't want to get too much into TNA wrestling because I don't really follow them. I follow a lot of the wrestlers who are in TNA, but another executive from backstage executive that was on the TNA side has been fired by the owners, Anthem, who are currently the owners and of the product, and it seems like from some reports that they are interested in taking a more active role in the company and being in charge, and that has not sat particularly well with some of the Ring of Honor staff who have their own ideas about it and would prefer if Anthem were just the people that spent money and like gave their opinions but didn't like decide they know how to run a wrestling company. And so now we have Sign Guy Dudley is gone, which he was not obviously going by Sign Guy Dudley, but that's who it was, which is always a weird thing to remember. That is a thing that I have remembered and then forgotten. But yeah, Lou D'Angeli, who was VP of marketing for Anthem's VP of marketing, has left. And someone else has also left. Anthem wanting to go a new direction. Wanting to get more effective in the live events market. He was both Sign Guy Dudley and Lou E. Dangerously in ECW. He's mostly more remembered for being Sign Guy Dudley than anything else. But then also had a number of years working for TNA. Oh yeah, seems like a lot of shit's going on there. A lot of shit's going on behind the scenes over there, which seems weird. I don't know if there's anything else for... Oh, I will say, Forbidden Door is at the end of June. We got a little time before Forbidden Door comes. Not a lot of matches have been figured out. The main event is going to be good. Will Ospreay, Swerve Strickland. I think that's going to be a quality match. One other match we know about is going to be a fucking banger. Mina Shirakawa is wrestling Toni Storm at Forbidden Door 2 on June 30th. And that is wild. She is from Stardom. She is fantastic and like wild and great. Storyline wise, it's awesome because she is has a interesting, quote unquote interesting is the way to say it for Japanese wrestling, an interesting relationship with the protege of Toni Storm, Mariah May. So that will lead to some drama, I'm sure. So drama and also girls kissing, but it's okay because Toni Storm is bisexual. That is the thing that is the thing that like I remember somebody being like, wait, so these wrestlers are kissing now? They're still doing that in pro wrestling, just having the girls kiss, and it's like, well, one, yes, they are still doing it, and two, Toni Storm is bisexual, so it is not two straight girls kissing for storyline reasons. It is a straight girl and a bisexual girl kissing for storyline reasons. But also, one can at least hope that it is done with everybody understanding what's going on with the storyline and approving it and going in for it, and is not. And one would hope anyway that this is not people being pressured into a salacious storyline. We'll see. But also, Mariah May and Mina already had a weird relationship, quote unquote weird relationship in Stardom. So this is just an extenuation of the larger universe, which is fun. That is a fun thing. I don't know. I'm into it. And the main event, of course, is Swerve versus Will Ospreay, which I think is a mistake. Because one, Will Ospreay does need to lose at some point. It would be weird for Will Ospreay to lose to Swerve Strickland, but it also would be shitty for Swerve Strickland to lose that belt. Because I want Swerve in the main event of Forbidden Door, or not Forbidden Door. I want Swerve the main event at All In Wembley, because I think that fucking rules. So I would love that, and I think the way for that to happen would be for. I think we'll get. My guess is we're gonna get a bullshit ending that's gonna make people unhappy and set up All In. We are gonna get some shenanigans, be it Don Callis shenanigans, and then Will doesn't want to win that way, which leads to Will losing. Or maybe we're going to get a returning Hangman Adam Page, who, you know, you would think, oh, well, Hangman would make it so that Swerve loses the belt because Swerve would hate that. But no, he cheats so that Swerve wins because he wants to take the belt from Swerve. He wants Swerve to be champion so he can take that belt from him. Like and then that leads to a 3-way fight at All In. I don't know. And the other thing could be they want Will Ospreay to have the belt going into All In. Or they want Will Ospreay in a different match. Will Ospreay, you would imagine that the title match could have happened last year. But instead they don't fucking work with Chris Jericho. So who the fuck knows? Hopefully he will have a more profile match than a Jericho fight. But you never fucking know. But one thing I will say is Tony Khan does not seem particularly set on having British stars in matches at All In or winning matches at All In. Of course, Saraya did win kind of out of nowhere, seemingly randomly. But that doesn't necessarily mean that every British person on the car is going to, I mean, hell, there were 2 British folks that just ended up doing bits before the show started that weren't even on the card, that have been in the company for a very long time, but they were nowhere on the card at all. So it's not like he was like, well, we got to have, these folks got to be on it. Well, we got to find room for them. That apparently didn't matter to Tony Khan. So who knows? But I will say, I don't want Swerve to drop it yet. I guess I'm more inclined to want Will to lose and then somehow. So the easy story, I guess, is Will loses. He had his first loss, and then he wins the Owen Hart tournament. He wins the Owen Cup, which now this year the Owen Cup gets you a title opportunity. He wins the Owen Hart Cup, and he declares that he wants to fight the champ at All In. So that makes Will a champion. That also means that the winner of the Owen Hart Cup main events a match at Wembley. A famous match at Wembley is for the international title or the Intercontinental Championship. Bret Hart versus British Bulldog. So a Hart was involved in Wembley, a major event in Wembley. So that is kind of a nice, fun thing. That's something they could do if they wanted to do that. I don't know. But I do think there could have been a different opponent that won the Casino Gauntlet that then faced Swerve at Forbidden Door that wasn't Will Ospreay. Especially because Will Ospreay just won a fucking belt. He's the international champion. he's the international champion. He now has, before he even defended the title one time, he became the #1 contender for the world title, and it's weird. Tony Khan doesn't seem set on a lot. I thought he was supposed to be the work from home after the Bucks broke his neck or whatever. He did for a couple weeks. Lashbrook, he was work from home. I mean, he wasn't, but he was storyline work from home for a couple weeks. He got better. You know, he got hurt at work, but he was back because there's a pay-per-view. The fact that he was off camera for a couple weeks is still pretty good for a guy that wants to be in the background. Also, I'll give him credit. Having Christopher Daniels as his mouthpiece is a pro move because Christopher Daniels is good on the microphone. He's an underrated mic guy. And Tony is bad at appearing natural and human. So it's a good thing. It's past 10. I've been so busy knowing, I didn't even realize it was after 10 o'clock. We're going to take a pause for the cause. I'm going to talk about ways you can support the channel, and then we'll continue to Knoll, because there's more to Knoll here, everybody. There's a lot of grays, dark gray and light gray. So we gotta separate all that out. Get that all together. Get everything together. And then we can start building. But we gotta know before we can build. So let's go here to that. Hi. Welcome, everyone. If you are new, this is the pause for the cause. This is my opportunity to talk to all of you about ways that you can support what I do here through Cash Money or your Prime Gaming token. You can subscribe. That's the easiest way to support what I do here. If you're currently a subscriber to the Build With Baer Workshop, you can throw the Bear Cave Lego Scythe Tier 2 blue emote in the chat. Being a subscriber is the easiest way to support what I do here through Cash Money, Prime Gaming. You got Amazon Prime, you get that token. When you link your Twitch account with your Amazon account, you can use that for anyone. Why not use that for me? That's an easy way to support me. We are currently at 38 subscribers. The goal is to get to 50. I shut up about subscribers when we hit 50. If you wanted to become a subscriber, that would be great. You could also gift a sub. It's a new month. It's June. So you could be the top of the gift sub leaderboard with just one gifted sub. You would join that leaderboard there. You could also do bits and coins if you want to cheer and join the cheer leaderboard. That would be nice. Everything I'm going to talk about here, what ways to support you, are optional. You don't have to do any of these things, but if you would like to, you're more than welcome to. I have a Patreon at patreon.com/PatBear. Over on my Patreon, there is a $1, $3, $5, and $10 tier. There are different rewards for the different tiers. Consider joining me on Patreon. If you would like to, I would love to have you over on Patreon. That is a way to support me. I'm sorry, I'm going to move some stuff around here. All right, moving things around, figuring stuff out, moving along here. I also have a YouTube channel, because of course I do. And it's youtube.com/PatBear. Over on my YouTube channel, there is subscriptions, of course, for free. Just become a subscriber, follow me over there. But if you would like to support me financially over through YouTube, there's a thing called memberships. And over on YouTube, you become a member and you get some bonus stuff. And for me, that means that you get my Wednesday videos on Tuesday. So you can become a member there for just $2 a month and get a weekly video a day early. So you get video tomorrow instead of having waiting for Wednesday's stream or Wednesday's video like everybody else. So do that. Those are all monthly ways to support me. If you want to just do a one-time donation, I have a PayPal, and I also have a Ko-Fi link, and you can check those out if that is easier to support me that way. Why did that not work? Huh. On that. Why did that not work? There it is. That works. Yeah, you can go through my PayPal or my Ko-Fi if you want to give me a tip. And everything I make through direct donations through YouTube, which includes AdSense, so watching my videos helps me out, through Patreon and through Twitch, all goes into a fund. And from that fund, I buy model kits and Lego sets. The F91 that we finished tonight, that came from me, past you and your support. I was able to pick that kit up. This Lego set that I'm currently knolling and getting ready to start building, I was able to pick that up because of your generosity, which I appreciate very much. I have a decent backlog of stuff that I will be thrilled to build. But if you want to get in on the action, you want to help me decide what I build next, you're like, no, Pat. Don't build those other Lego sets you have or those other model kits you have. Don't build that model kit yet that you bought that is from a Japanese magazine only side series to Gundam Seed. Don't buy that. Don't build that yet. Instead, build what I want you to build. Well, if you want to put your money where your mouth is, you can go to my Amazon wish list and buy me something from there. Everything purchased from my wish list gets its own dedicated video. It becomes a video for my YouTube channel called a mailbag video, and it jumps the queue and becomes the next thing that I build, because that's the least I could do. If you're buying something for me to build, I should build it soon. So when this Lego set is done, if something was bought off my wish list, I'll build that. I've got Lego sets and model kits, inexpensive kits, expensive kits, Pokemon and Digimon, and all kinds of different things. Expensive kits, cheap-ass kits. I recently added a Ford Mustang Dark Horse sports car. I don't know why it's called the Dark Horse, but it's a Ford Mustang that I would like to build out of Lego. It looks neat. I recently added that to the wish list. But yeah, there's a bunch of stuff there that I'd be happy to build if you wanted to pick it up. And some gear at the bottom, because it's always nice to have some optional gear. Yeah, lots of cool shit. Lots of cool shit on that wish list. We'll get through this very quickly. We'll get back to building soon, folks. Just stick with me here. Beyond that wish list, I also have a throne wish list, because it is nice to have alternatives. So you can always go to my throne, see if there's something there that you'd like to see. It's nice to have alternative to Amazon. Some people don't want to buy from Amazon, and I get that. Also, the most convoluted way to support me, you go to USA Gundam Store, you buy a gift card at USA Gundam Store. They send you a gift card code in your email. Then you send me a whisper on Twitch or a DM on Twitter or Blue Sky with that gift card code. And then I will use that gift card code to buy something from USA Gundam Store. That is as best options I got for you. As many options as I have, best I can do for all of that. As ways to support me. I should say, real quick before we move on, my birthday is coming up. June 23rd will be my birthday. If you want to celebrate my 44th birthday by buying me something from Amazon or Throne or a gift card to USA Gundam Store, you could do that, and then I would use that to buy something if you wanted to. If you want to support me and not spend any money, I have a Discord. You're welcome to join my Discord. It's a cool little community of fun folks. Think about it. Think about jumping in on the old Discord. And then, let's see, what else do I've got here? I got some video links that I would love for you to check out. So we'll promote a couple videos that I have made. The most recent Pat Baer's Anime Club is up and out. I posted last Monday. It is looking at the 7 different shows this anime season that are in their own third seasons. That's a lot. So spring 2024 has 7 different shows in their third season. And one of them is like the third season in 4 years, and that's wild. And the other ones are a bit more established and have gone for long, taking longer breaks, but it's still kind of wild. So I talked about that in the video. And then Kuma Baer is my weekly anime recommendation series. I'll have a new episode up for that on Wednesday. My current episode of Kuma Baer is me talking about Mushishi. Mushishi is in my opinion, hidden gem from the 2000s anime era, from that decade. It is a chill investigative series, slice of life about nature spirits and the guy just trying to observe them and seeing what's going on. And you could pick up any episode and do just fine. It's that kind of series. It's awesome, but also like totally understand if it's not for everyone. But if I didn't want to finish my month of talking about anime from the 2000s without bringing it up because I feel like not enough people talk about it. All right. Speaking of talking about anime, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna get into talking about. I need to edit this real quick. Sorry. I'm gonna talk about Windbreaker and Kaiju number 8, and we'll get into that in just a moment. Before I can talk about that, I do need to drink some water. And the other thing we need to do is dramatically transition back to the overhead camera, and we'll do that at the same time, right now. All right. Okay. So before I get into the anime talk, I'm going to quickly finish knolling all of this because I know that if I start reading my notes about the episodes of stuff, I'm not going to be able to also keep looking at that and looking down and properly knolling. So we're going to quickly bang this out. We are going to talk about 2 shonen today. We will talk about Windbreaker and Kaiju number 8. Both of whom are great and serve similar but different audiences. I think I don't think there's a huge amount of crossover there, but there's some stuff that's good. Outside of these 2 shows, I am keeping current. I shouldn't be doing this. I should just let a bunch of episodes pile up and then watch it. But I am keeping current with Tsukini Michi, and I am Moonlit Fantasy. And I am annoyed that I am doing that because nothing fucking happens. Sometimes shit happens. Like the most recent episodes have been fun because in order to keep his identity a secret, our main character is wearing a Kamen Rider style suit, like a superhero suit. And that is fun. But it's like, it's just slow. And that's fine. It's fine that it's slow, but it's slow, and I would love it to be a little speedier with what's going on. It's not the end of the world, but I do think I'm going to try to not watch next week's episode and just wait on it. That's, these are small problems, but, they are a thing that I'm, quote-unquote, dealing with. And then, is there other things that I can talk about from the world of anime before we get into these 2 shows? Tonari no Yokai, I am caught up with. That show is not as good as it was sold. Like the first couple episodes are such a fucking vibe, and I think that once they start exploring the world a little more, I'm a little less into it, but I still think it's very good. I do want to get back to Train to the End of the World because I've heard that is, picking up the pace and has been fun, but I've completely not kept up with that show. I am caught up with Slime. I'm caught up with Reincarnated as a Slime. That shit is popping off, and that damn shit's popping off. We got some real fucking shit going on in that. Although we did have a whole episode that was like happening before, like these events happened before this major thing. So like 2 episodes ago ended on a cliffhanger where you're like, oh fuck. And then this episode was like, anyway, here's the events that leading up to that moment. And then the episode ends with that moment again, or like I should say, almost directly after that moment. And it was just like, all right. Oh, we got to see that. But the stuff that they did cut away to show us was cool as hell. So that was fun. The other show that I'm watching on my own time and not talking about at weekly is Laid Back Camp, which I don't want to say I'm used to the bad new art, particularly the background. I don't want to say that I'm happy with it or used to it. It's not as abrasive as it once was. It still sucks. it still fucking sucks. It's still bad to look at and a bummer. And I hate it. But the characters are still really fun. The story is fun. And I think if you were like starting with season 3, you wouldn't bat an eye, because it's similar to a lot of how a lot of anime is made these days, unfortunately, i.e. cheap. But the fact that Laid Back Camp now has a cheap ass looking version of it bums me out, because that show is very good and very fun and very popular, and it's a shame. I'll go out and say it. What they did to that show is a bummer. Is it unwatchable? No. Is it, like a deal breaker? Not for me, but I can understand why some people were like, I'm gonna bail on it, because they're just not happy with how it looks at all and can't deal with it. And I totally understand that. For me, I'm just mostly just annoyed. All right, we now properly knolled. It's time to start building this shit, getting things together. And I'm going to talk to you about Windbreaker. Windbreaker episode 9. Shit is popping off, folks. Speaking of shit popping off, this is a show where, like, the first episode is like, here's this guy. Here's what's happening. Here's some shit. Punch, punch, punch. Fight, fight, fight. The second episode was like, here's a young lady. And you're like, oh, is this where we're going with this? No, don't worry about it. Because that young lady was just there to introduce other people that our main character needed to fight. And the pacing of this one is just like, where is the next fight? Let us get to the next scene with the next fight. We have been having an inter-school, I'm sorry. These are one of the first. We have an inter-school competition here, basically a brawl, a bunch of one-on-one fights between different schools and their delinquents. But we've had philosophy battles. The idea of Yumamiya turned his school into a place where these teens that can fight are using it to protect the town and protecting the community, and it's like, and protecting the school. Whereas Choji, the leader of his school, has used it in his intimidation. Once he became the strongest person in school and took over that, he's ruled with iron fist, and we've watched him be a complete motherfucker to all of the people that have lost because, hey, guess what? Boofer at our school, everyone from there has whooped ass with Shishitoran. They've just whooped all their asses. So it's been a very one-sided beatdown. We need to allow these here. We are starting with the camera, by the way. We're going to start with the camera. Why wouldn't I start with the camera? There it is. Okay, so we put these here. We put these here. We put this here. And we put those there. This is all looking good. And then I'm just going to make sure everything's pushed down. Okay, so we're starting with the finals of this fight. The two leaders. We've been into it. The last episode, there was a lot of fighting. Oh, you're right. Wait, what happened? I hit the dramatic button and it... Wait, let me see. What happened? Did it not switch? Did something happen here? There it is. Okay. You know what? I might have accidentally hit the intro button by mistake after, which switches me to this. I didn't even notice. Thank you very much, Lashbrook, for noticing. I would have noticed eventually. Then John wants me to hit the dance button. I will hit the dance button. Here's me hitting that dance button. New dance button for a new month. At least we know that's working. There you go. There you go, John. There's some guitars that come in. It's fun. It's a fun little tune. All right. Umamiya is just kind of like absorbing the variety of punches that he is receiving. And the fight isn't necessarily one-sided, but Choji is doing most of the punching and is having little to no effect. And it's just like not working, even though he's the strongest in his school. And he's just like, doesn't quite understand what's going on. He is not totally clued into like why this isn't working. But he's just like, you know, more philosophy. It's like, oh, Choji, yeah, no, your punches have no weight behind them. You have no reason to fight me. You have there's no you're not fighting for anything. So of course it doesn't fucking hurt. Like there's no way you could hurt me with your punches. He just keeps punching. And Choji's talking about like freedom and how like he's doing all this to be free. Like that's his philosophy, you know, so we're getting more of his philosophy, which seems like, yeah, I guess, dude, but I don't fucking know. I don't quite know what you're talking about when you talk about freedom. And he's like, well, what does freedom mean to you? And he says like, oh, well, it's when I'm having fun. When I am the most free means I'm having the most fun, which is again, like, okay, but you seem like really fucking sad. So I don't know, dude. And then that's kind of where Choji is just like kind of gives up here. He stops communicating. He stops talking. It's no longer also a battle of wits. It's just a battle of fists. Even though he is completely not effective with that. That's all he can do because he's basically just like, I can't keep answering these questions. And just starts fucking punching Umemiya in the face, and Umemiya just like lets him do it. And then Choji like fucking goes to bite his throat. And then Umemiya's like, look inside you, man. You actually have the answer this whole time. Like, you know the answer to what's going on here. Like, which again, it's a weird moment where he's just like, yeah, bite me. Fuck you. And then we get, then Umiya fucking headbutts him. He's like, hey, the last time we all fought together, you were having the time of your life. You were having such a good time, surrounded by your friends, and we were fighting, and it was cool bros fighting. Choji, we finally get a flashback. We've had a flashback before from other people's perspectives. And we get the symbolism of him walking in a desert alone, which is like pretty fucking cool. It looks neat. But he was happy when he had his teammates, when he was rising the ranks. He definitely was happy at that time. He was like making it happen and feeling alive. And then when he got to the top, it wasn't fulfilling. Because he thought he would have even more fun when he was in charge instead of just being one of the boys. He thought that was his ticket to freedom. And when he got there, when he got to the top, he didn't feel that. He didn't feel anything. And then that's kind of when he comes to. Togame, his number one guy, apologizes for making him feel isolated and alone. You know, but of course, he was the one pushed away. That's why Choji's like, no, that's not. I pushed you away. It's all on me. And he was like, once I got my goal, it didn't fix anything. It made things worse, and I didn't know what to do with that. Just, you know, yeah, man. Yeah, sometimes that shit happens. You know, you focus on the treasure aspect of it, and then you don't, like the treasure hunt, you don't think about what happens once you finish that and where you go with that. So yeah. Let's see, I need two more black here. Two blacks. Got it. And then he was like, it basically, to make a long story a little shorter, our guy, Choji, our shit dude, the shittiest dude in this fucking anime, was like, I felt empty, and so I needed to justify that emptiness by being an asshole. to make sense of it, because if I was feeling bad, there should be a reason. I should be the cause of me feeling bad. So he's like, yeah, that fucking so stupid of me. He basically blamed his own weakness on his team. That's why he started treating people like shit. So he's like, okay, well, you won. Umemiya, you now own Shishitorin. You're now in charge. Like, do whatever you want. And so we get our last little bit of this episode, which is Umemiya being like, what? No, I don't want that. Let's just be friends. Which is very funny. He's like, what? Hell no. I don't want to. What? No, I don't want to own the school. I already run one school. What if you just weren't an asshole? Which is a fun end to the episode. It was pretty good. Pretty solid episode all around. Look, do I like long exposition in shows? No. Do I enjoy this show's method of where they are like, all right, and here's why this is happening, and then they cut back to the action and they intersperse it with that? I don't hate that. I think that's pretty fun. This show is, it's a shonen, and it does the shonen thing very well. I will say it is surprising and interesting that this show understands that Sakura is our main character, but he doesn't have to be the only character that does stuff and means something. Even if he'll be like his generation's top star or whatever, it's not just about him every single episode. And in fact, other than some reactions, Sakura doesn't say it or doesn't really do anything in this episode. And I think that's kind of cool, that this show is not afraid to, hey, let's look at the main people in this area. Like, they didn't have our main character have to step in because the leader of the school couldn't beat the other guy, and then Sakura had to step up to face him. Like, no, we didn't get that at all. Instead, we got the actual two leaders of the schools fighting each other. I think that's pretty cool. I don't know. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying Windbreaker. Now let's talk about Kaiju number 8. So the end of last episode was a rescue mission. Our guy fighting against another man who can become a kaiju to save his friends, manages to slip away. He thinks he defeats the Kaiju number 8, number 9. We're going to call him number 9. Kafka defeats Kaiju number 9, the mysterious person in charge are working on all of this bullshit. So he defeats that person and then slips away and escapes capture, but runs into Hoshina, like his boss. Who is not clued into, because there's only 2 people that know what the deal is. So he doesn't know that that's Kafka. And so Hoshina goes to attack because he's like, they fight each other. Kafka's like, holy shit, my boss is very good at fighting kaiju. Goddamn. Like, I'm scared, but also he's very good at this. Meanwhile, Hoshina's like, something about this fight is bothering me. Like, he doesn't quite know what's going on, but there's something about what's happening here that he's like confused about. There's something weird going on with this fight. Kafka deflects the attacks and escapes. So good. This fight is pretty short. It could have been long and dragged out. It wasn't long and dragged out, which is good. It allows our boy to escape. Hoshina reports to Mina and everybody else that the 8 escaped. Kafka runs into Kikuro and then collapses because this has been a fucking lot. And Kafka's like, I'm so sorry that number 9 got away. I tried my best, but I also had to like escape. So you know, he apologizes for that. He's got, yeah, like basically she's like, worry about yourself. Mina and Hoshina talk. And Hoshina is basically like, okay, so this is a Daikai Kaiju. This is like definitely a monster. And he's like, something's up because this monster doesn't feel like it was bloodthirsty. It felt intelligent, but not bloodthirsty. And he's not quite sure what's going on. And it's like, oh, we'll kill it later. Basically, they're like, because obviously they don't know that's our boy they're talking about, but they're like, yeah, we'll just look, we'll catch that thing another time and we'll take care of it. Okay, I'm gonna get all the parts I need here for this part of the camera. I'm just gonna get all this together here. I need that. I need that. I need that. I need one of these, and then I need some dark gray pieces here and here. All right. Let's see. Basically, they're like, hey, that kaiju they're calling nine is the humanoid kaiju, is the same one from the selection exam. And we knew that. Now they're starting to know some information. Like, obviously, we know more than they do, but they're starting to know some of that information. And now they also know, hey, number 9 has a literal human form. Not just that they're more humanoid. This thing had a humanoid, like looked like a fucking human. So now they know that information as well. Then we see number 9 wandering highway and eating somebody and stealing their car. And then he learns that, so he's driving and learns that they've now named him. He now has a name. But he's not really worried about any of that. He is very focused on how to defeat number 8. Okay, so I put this in the wrong spot. I was like, why isn't this working? Because I did it wrong. Then we have a bunch of people meeting together, a bunch of people from the Defense Force talking about the fight between 8 and 9 and how that was weird. Oh yeah, 9 wants to hide because he has to adjust to his new human body, his new form. So we're not sure if this is a monster that can look like a human or if it's like he was a different human, now he's a different form, but whatever. He's going to lay low, it seems like. We have a bunch of people talking about the fight, and there's a party. They are celebrating their first successful mission because despite all of that, it's still a success. Kafka is very surprised about that because there's a lot of great food, but they're being sponsored. Sorry. By Izumo Technologies, which is the arms manufacturer for a lot of the suits and weapons they use. But they picked up the bill because Horichi is the heir apparent to it. So they're getting it funded basically. But the party is sponsored basically by a rich guy. What do I need? I need these black pieces here. These here. Great. I got the 4 pieces I need. See. Reno was feeling down, but it turns out a lot of people are feeling down about what happened in the fights there and what they were able to do. Because a lot of people, like Reno was taking it very personally, but a lot of people are like, nah, we could have, we need to do better. We could have done better. We all have to step up. There's a bunch of people talking and kind of like trying to cheer themselves up a bit. Hoshina tells Kafka that he's being promoted to an officer role in the Defense Force, which we kind of knew from last episode, but now we've got more confirmation that this is coming. We kind of had a sense this was coming, but like, yeah, he's just really good at organizing, and he understands how to fight monsters and how, he's not the strongest fighter, but he is very good at direction. And Kafka, gets congratulated. People are very happy about him. And Mina is the one to officially promote him. Remember that Mina is the childhood friend that she went off to join the Defense Force, and he ended up on the cleaning crew. Now he's on the Defense Force with her. They haven't really had a good chance to have like the big talk. They probably shouldn't, because I think his feelings are different than her feelings, but whatever. But yeah, now they've got a chance to talk a little bit. But she does, even though I don't know if that she feels the same way, she does remember the promise that he made to her. Because she's like, it might take you a little while longer to keep your promise, which was to eradicate all of the kaiju, make everything safe for everybody, because they are among the people that lost a lot of their families because of this. But Kafka's like, I will keep my promise. She's going to attend an HQ meeting to discuss the two mysterious new types of kaiju. She's going to go to a meeting to do that. I need 2 more of these. I got 2 more. Okay. I will say this whole build has been very straightforward. Building this camera has been pretty easy to just follow along. There's a chance I messed up somewhere. I already messed up like a little bit once, but easily fixable. And like I said, this has been pretty straightforward to put this together. Lord Crashin also wants me to hit the dance button, and I will hit the dance button. I will hit that button right now. Thank you for using your channel points. Here's me dancing. Oh yeah. Need a few more pieces here. And then, oh yeah. Burn it. Burn it. Yeah, and it just builds. That's just a fun little song. Okay. They're going to talk about there. She's like, hey, talk to Oshina about paperwork and stuff. And, we're hoping you can meet the expectations. Okay, where did this one piece go? This one here? Oh, it goes over here. Great. Found what I need. And then we need to take this and build something with it. We'll do that. Let's see. Kafka starts doing some research, and he runs into Hoshina. And Hoshina is working on a strategy to defeat the other kaiju, these new kaiju. Specifically, he's trying to figure out a way to defeat kaiju number 8, which we all know. I shouldn't have to keep saying. I don't need to keep saying it, but we all know that's Kafka. And basically, she's like, Kafka's like, hey, I'm going to help you as best I can. To which Hoshina kind of mocks him for that. But then the episode ends with several wyvern-looking kaiju, like some real tiny dragon kaiju motherfuckers are out and about. And there's another humanoid kaiju that is instructing the wyvern kaiju. Oh no. But yeah, good action at the very top, and then it was nice. Oh, I got to spin this around. It was nice to have the characters kind of like, a lot of them barely survived, and it was a successful first mission, but it's interesting and I think cool that they were like, okay, let's recap. And it mostly is people being like, I gotta fucking step up my game. And I appreciate that. Good episode. Not as action-packed as the previous episode, but still solid. We are now working on part of the camera here. A big section of this camera, it looks like. So I'll keep working on that. Now is the part of the stream because we have some time left. I want to hear from you, friends. What are you watching right now? What are you playing? What are you into? What's got you going? Did you go to the movies over the weekend? You watching anything on TV or streaming services? Like what's up? What's going on? What's happening? I will tell you that your friend Pat, that's me, I have been playing a lot of Hearthstone because Twist, and I tweeted about this. I tweeted about Twist. The format Twist, which is like the regular game, but sometimes weird, is the best way that I can describe Twist. They've been this new version of Twist is fun. All you need is a legendary. And there are a bunch of different decks based on legendaries, and they will fill in all the rest of your deck for you as long as you have the legendary. So, because some of the cards aren't regular cards or old cards or whatever. I don't have every legendary for it, but I have a lot of them. And the decks are just weird. They are weird and strange decks, and they are fun to play. You have like a passive ability and some odd hero powers. It's kind of like duels, but without the deck building. And it's very fun. I would suggest that if you are somebody that like said like, oh, duels isn't really for me, maybe check it out because maybe you will like this version of duels. Or sorry, this version of Hearthstone. It's only going to be available for 2 months, but this Twist is so far the most fun that I have had playing this format, this ever-changing format. So yeah, I would say check out Twist. It's pretty great. And then I'm just playing my regular decks. I don't have anything new right now. I haven't found a new deck that I really like, so I'm just playing the old decks that I enjoy. It's a new month, being June, and so I am going through and trying to rank up. I'm focusing on Twist and Wild and not really Standard because my Standard decks don't do well. So I'm kind of like not bothering with that. I have a couple Standard decks that are just for quest completion decks, and those work just fine. Ooh, now we're going to put the lid on here. And that's going to go, that's going to go. This? Yeah. Why don't you? I went to go put this on, and this lid piece does not want to sit well. Maybe if I nudge this, it'll sit better. It should. Just, It's possible that I need to press some of these down, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to see why. But right now, even though this is all on the same level, and should be fine, when I'm going to press this stuff down, it is not working. But those are the games I'm playing. I didn't play anything since Saturday, yesterday or today, any other video games of note. Okay, so this is just not sitting well. Oh, there it is. That felt like I was fighting it in a way that I'm not used to. So that was weird. But yeah, this will still pop out. That pops out like that. So you can load the film in. But yeah, that piece felt weird. Aristofan says, Twist feels like a better tavern brawl. I'm fully back in Final Fantasy 14 and back on my gathering crafting bullshit. Hell yeah. But yeah, I'm going to go back because some of you have written some stuff, but Aristofan was just commenting on what I just said, so I just wanted to finish with that. I am going to pause. I want to finish this stuff up. It's almost 11, but I do want to read what you've been writing because it's important to me to read that because I asked you for what you're up to and into, and so then I want to know. Watch Godzilla -1 on Netflix this weekend. It's on my list. I wrote it down because I do have Netflix right now. I got Netflix so I can finish up Delicious in Dungeon, and so Godzilla -1 is on my list of things to watch. Since I have, like I said, Netflix, I gotta check that shit out. Staying up to date on Dungeon Meshi and Demon Slayer, reading through the latest English volume of Oshinoko, and playing Paper Mario Thousand Year Door Remake. Nice. I am behind on Demon Slayer, but I'm going to get caught up. Ghost Valve was trying to clean up place, trying to get magic cards ready to set out for sale. Hell yeah. Very good to do. You did watch Godzilla -1 and liked nothing much else other than Twitch watching. Hell yeah. Ghost Valve, I know you've been busy doing a lot of work, and then also there have been delays in that work, so hell yeah. I'm glad you're getting some stuff done, though. Ended up, Lashbrook finished Fallout. Looking forward to Season 2, but there are some dumb things in there. The Fallout TV show. Playing the Tactical Breach Wizards demo right now, and it's great. I haven't checked out any demos yet. I'm going to try some demos this week that came out early ahead of Next Fest. Lord Crashton's been playing more Hitman World of Assassination on PC. I jump back in now and again, but I'm mostly just doing the World of Assassination stuff. As I'm on the Mumbai stage of Hitman 2. I like the stage a lot, though I'm just doing mission stories right now to get through each stage. You have not gone down into the gang's hideout lair, from what I recall. You explore the tower more in the apartment complex. Yeah, Mumbai is big. That is a big stage. There's a lot going on there. And then John says, I have that Tactical Wizard Breach demo downloaded or already to check out later this week. Looks good. Yeah. Again, I haven't checked out a lot of the demos yet, or any of the demos yet. I will. It is an option for next week. My Patreon's choice. They'll get a poll later this week about what I'm doing on Tuesday, and one of the poll options will be Steam Next Fest demos. And then I don't know what the other two options will be, but that'll be one of the options. Is I could check out some Next Fest demos, because that would be nice to see. And that's gonna do it for tonight's stream. Yeah, we'll in there. I'm making a lot of good progress on this camera. It doesn't really look like a camera yet, but it will start to look like one once we put this thing on. I think it'll really start looking like a camera. But we'll do more of that soon. Like, we'll get into it in the future, and then we'll build the other camera and the TV. Maybe in that order, maybe not. But that is going to end tonight's stream, but that's not the end of our story, because we end every stream with a raid. We're going to go find somebody doing cool shit out there and go give them some love and hang out with them. And it is a Monday, so we are going to raid Mary Kish because it is Merry Mondays. So we got to go hang out with Mary Kish, who is playing Humanity. She's playing Humanity. We're going to go check in with that. I forgot what that game was, but now I remember. John says we always end with a raid, which we do. Lord Crasher says Mary's killing a lot of men in Humanity. And yes, I forgot what that game was. I now remember what that game is. So feel free to come along on this raid. I hope you can. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me tonight on Monday, on this lovely Monday evening. Tomorrow, 9 p.m. Eastern, we are returning to the world of Pokemon Black with my Pokemon Black randomizer. It'll be a lot of fun. I'm going to load it up tomorrow so I can remember where I am in the game. But we'll check that out tomorrow, and then we'll follow up that Thursday with more of this Lego build. Thank you all so much for being here. I hope you have a great rest of your night. I will see you on the next one. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye, 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 goodbye. Good.